Welcome to Fast Effect Double Speed Magic the Gathering from ELD's Time Vault games. Here I think we actually have the names reversed here. Yeah, it looks like... and actually, it's going to be Rug Delver. Rug Delver versus Bomberman, Chalice at 1. A devastating card there. Lightning Bolt, a dead giveaway that we're not on Bug. And a Monastery Mentor off of Cavern. And things are looking very bad here for Rob on Bug. As I said, those names are reversed. Another Cavern into a Karn, the Great Creator. Mishra's Bauble adding even more to the Exalted triggers. And a Lion's Eye Diamond as well. So 5 damage coming in. Sacking a couple lands, going down to 13. And this Chalice at 1. Cutting off a lot of lines. A Brazen Borrower going on a little adventure. Petty Theft bouncing for the meanwhile. And now Young Pyromancer, and this Lightning Bolt is a decision. What would you do? Do you take out the Mentor? Do you take out this Karn? It feels like the Mentor is just going to be the end of you. And actually going to the untap step. Interesting. Now, I believe that... was that a Fatal Push? Fatal Push could actually be used on the Mentor, which is nice. Karn, on the other hand, can get cleared with a Lightning Bolt. And actually using the Lightning Bolt on the Mentor. And that I don't understand. I wonder what he'd want a Fatal Push. That he'd want to save that. Very interesting. Lotus Petal. Mox Opal. So much mana. Karn. Making a wish for the sideboard. Getting a Glass Casket, Legacy playable Glass Casket. Mox Opal, allowing this to be cast. Young Pyromancer is out of there. And now, following up with a Mystic Forge, and Rob has seen enough. Mystic Forge, an absolute powerhouse card. For a short while, it was incredibly splashy in Vintage. Still allowed to play it here in Legacy. Though Bomberman really underplayed. There's just so many decks that you can choose from that... very often, some of the decks that seem incredibly good and potentially well-positioned just don't have the number of people in the field playing it. Looking over the Leaving a Legacy results here, the total number of decks played. Yeah, it looks like $54 different decks were played at the Leaving a Legacy Open, and only one of them was Bomberman. I feel like the deck is substantially better than that would indicate. Only two Eurekatel lists, and both of those made top 8. So again, I think that deck's probably better than people realize. We've got our team events that have been doing extremely well here at the shop, ELD's Time Vault games. We've actually had 60 players for both of them so far. We've got several more scheduled. Team Unified and Unified Legacy. Team Unified Legacy, meaning that everybody's playing Legacy, and then Team Trio, which is Modern Pioneer and Legacy. Preordain leading out for Delver. Ancient Why am I forgetting the name of that? The white artifact land. Ancient Den. Mishra's bauble being sacrificed to draw a card. The baubles, of course, mostly in there for for digging through the deck, but also very important in enabling metalcraft for Mox Opal. So it is a little bit of a decision whether or not to sacrifice them, especially in the face of artifact destruction. You don't want to be in a situation where you get a wasteland taking out your artifact land and maybe another artifact destruction spell here or there, and then potentially not even have metalcraft. That can be very damaging. Urza's Bauble. Gonna see some more cards and continue to dig towards some goodness here. Caracas and Ancient Den. No flip for Delver. He swings. And 2 mana into Dreadhorde Arcanist. A potential card advantage engine. Doesn't have any synergy really with Daze. But certainly with Brainstorm, Lightning Bolts, Removal, cards like Abrade. Not going to be usable unless you somehow increase his toughness, or power, which is not something we're currently seeing, though some people have played around with that. Really any 1 mana spell. Dreadhorde Arcanist going to be able to get double duty out of. Well, any instant or sorcery, I should say. Of course, not able to bring back the Delvers. They are technically spells. And now Monastery Mentor into a Chalice of the Void. That gets dazed. Oh, and Lion's Eye Diamond after. We'll see what else is in Kenton's hand. It's possible he could have actually paid the 2 mana off of the LED to keep that Chalice around. Chalice is pretty darn important. It's possible it's actually better than the 2 cards in his hand. Lightning Bolt taking out that Mentor. And a Preordain giving Rob something to think about. Three cards in hand, it looks like, for Kenton. Karn the Great Creator. That gets Force of Willed. Bauble sacrificed, and at this point, life total's getting dangerously low. Lightning Bolts so close to lethal. Down to just 1 life. He may choose to block the Arcanist, leaving him at 2. I don't think that accomplishes very much. Look like he's going to opt to do it. Bauble. That is likely to be too slow to matter here. Karn. And 1 card in hand. And now that block absolutely could be relevant if he's able to use Karn to go get Ensnaring Bridge. You'll be able to block Dreadhorde Arcanist. Guess it wouldn't matter either way. But still, he'll be able to block. Oh. Not getting Ensnaring Bridge. I would have expected Ensnaring Bridge. I wonder if he's not running it? I'm not sure there. I mean, I will say Bomberman, not a deck that's played a ton, so there's no clear consensus list at this point as far as I can tell. There's really just not the same number of people playing it as there are A deck like Rug Delver or, certainly Miracles. Like, there are a lot of decks that tend to kind of move toward a consensus Bomberman. There's a little bit more leeway when you don't have as many people playing. You got to try different things, see what works. And that sideboard, every spot really has to be earned. At one point, people actually cutting the Mycosynth Lattice out of it, figuring that it wasn't winning them any games that they weren't going to win anyways. Though I believe it's back in general. Most people are back on board with the Mycosynth plan. Though so few people do play Bomberman, and it is an incredibly good deck. We see a Thoughtseize against a handful of answers: Swords to Plowshares, Glass Casket, and Oblivion Ring. Mox Opal, a little bit of a consideration. We'll see if Rob takes the cheapest mana removal in Swords to Plowshares. No, he's actually going to grab the Oblivion Ring. That surprises me. Unless I'm wrong on what that card is, that looks like Oblivion Ring to me. Again, not super played. We've got Lotus Petal, Ancient Den, and Mox Opal. He's got 4 mana for a Auriok Salvagers, and that gets dazed. That feels... Ooh, Wasteland. That leaves Kenton with just a Plains 4 mana, and now Ponder. A Delver actually getting shuffled back away, which is very surprising. Rob really needs a clock here. Does he have a threat in hand he's ready to deploy? A Grafdigger's Cage. He is really looking to manhandle this game state. Though I would caution him, ideally you really do want to have a threat on board. Walking Ballista at 1. You cannot contain a deck like this forever. You really need to get out a threat and continue pushing damage every turn. And a Plague Engineer, that's something. That's, 2 damage at a time. Not ideal, but could potentially be enough. It also does restrain the monks from running really wild. A Chalice at 1, actually allowed to resolve. The Glass Casket, as we know, there's also a Swords to Plowshares still left in the hand. A Braid taking out that Chalice. And a Brainstorm. Ooh, and Null Rod, that is certainly a exciting card to have here. Gonna shut off most of the deck. This will leave Kenton with just 2 mana. And Rob able to hardcast Force of Will on future turns as well. Okay, yeah, it's just 2. Looked like he was trying to cast Mentor for a second there, but he does actually only have 2 mana. Delver of Secrets now. And this will likely have a Swords thrown at it. Oh no, Ancient Tomb. Into Mentor. This Mentor actually resolved. Young Pyromancer and Lightning Bolt takes him out. A 2 mana Walking Ballista. I'm sorry, a 2/2 Walking Ballista for 4 mana. Not going to be able to remove to ping, as Null Rod shutting that whole plan off. A lot of lands. At this point, I might be wise to stop playing lands as the Delver player. Instead, trying to keep stuff in hand to brainstorm back. We've got a Monastery Mentor. He's throwing a force at it, despite that not mattering because of the the Cavern of Souls. I'm a little flustered there. I'm not sure. Looked like he went to cast it and then went to back out of it, and perhaps Kenton holding him to casting the spell. Bauble. Dreadhorde Arcanist. Looks like a whole bunch of 1-drops, obviously. But Chalice is going to be a problem for that. Another Walking Ballista. Wasteland taking out the City of Traders, so back down to 2 mana to play with. Got to be a very tense game state here, that Force of Will being thrown away. And can't really use the Dreadhorde Arcanist effectively here with this amount of blockers. Sometimes if your opponent has like just a 2/2 in this type of situation, you could afford to just turn it sideways, cast a spell from your graveyard just to make an additional 1/1. And now Auriok Salvagers. I believe that's also uncounterable thanks to the Cavern. Karn, the Great Creator. And he is plussing here. Now if there's a Lion's Eye Diamond in the graveyard, if he's able to get rid of this Null Rod, he'll have infinite mana and actually just be able to kill on the spot. I don't know that he has any way of getting rid of this Null Rod. Looks like Brazen Borrower in hand. Can potentially bounce the Chalice and then be recast as a clock. Potentially clearing out Karn over a couple of turns. It's a Fatal Push and a Lightning Bolt. Fatal Push. Bolt, taking out a Ballista. Still has that Salvagers on board, which I don't love. Lightning Bolt. Oh, he can't do that because of Grafdigger's Cage. That is a non-bow. Oh yeah, I actually don't know if he's done that before already this game. That is very easy to miss when your opponent has cards that actually screw over their own deck. It's not a thing that happens that often. Walking ballista. Got some tokens. This could be a bit of a disaster attack. That Grafdigger's Cage stopping these Dreadhorde Arcanists from really doing their thing. Young Pyromancer gonna be going down. And boy, this could be really bad. You may be able to play a few spells with these monk tokens and be in really good shape. Mycosynth Lattice. Yeah, no, he's fine. If he can jam this Lattice and if it sticks, that'll actually be essentially a wrap. He can stabilize on board with what he has. He has the blockers for the Dreadhorde Arcanus, and he can allow the tokens to trade out. He's grabbing Mystic Forge, though. Mystic Forge is not going to be able to play cards because of Grafdigger's Cage. Did he just play a bauble off of that? Oh, creature cards. Yeah, players can't cast cards in graveyards or libraries. Just got the first line of the text on my phone there. I was confused for a second. Yeah, there's no casting any of these things off the top of the library. Brazen Borrower. Entering the battlefield. Probably going to need to clear the Karn out of here. No, just going to go for the throat. Hopefully this works out for Rob. I feel like he's in the driver's seat here. If this Karn gets him, it's going to feel pretty bad. -2 Ensnaring Bridge being cast. Not getting through with Kenton only having one card in hand. Can't bounce your own Grafdigger's Cage with the adventure on Brazen Borrower, Petty Theft. Only bounces opponent's permanents. Ancient Tomb. I think that City of Traders is going to need to be sacrificed here. Chalice at 2 gets Force of Willed. Ponder. Sees another Brazen Borrower. I don't know. Perhaps bouncing Glass Casket to kill the monks. That could potentially be useful here. And now turning sideways And that is going to do it. Kenton going to be dead to Brazen Borrower the next turn. A lot of complicated interactions there. Grafdigger's Cage really doing a lot of work. And Nullrod as well. Very interesting matchup. Well, thanks for watching. That is all for this one, but don't worry, there is a lot more. You can check out our older videos, and we're always putting out new videos from ELD's Time Vault Games in Bellingham, Massachusetts. If you want to help the channel, of course, you can like, subscribe, share, tap that notification bell so you can know the next time our new videos come out. Thanks for watching.